20 years from now, we could see San Francisco emerge as a bicycle-centric city with a greater emphasis on cycling as a way to get around.
SFMTA recently announced a new plan to roll the city in that direction, but there's frustration over the agency's lack of transparency. And ABC7 Building a Better Bay Area reporter Leanne Melendez is here to explain the new biking and rolling plan, which you have printed up.
Here it is, yeah.
And is thick.
I read the whole thing last night.
Yeah, but cover to cover.
Well, you know, I was disappointed because I really thought there was going to be a real detailed map of the network, and it's not there yet. So it does talk about this idea of linking hundreds of streets in San Francisco, a so-called bicycle network. What the plan does not do is identify future projects. So let's refer to it as a plan that for the next 20 years will continue to evolve. Hold on to your helmets.
Red light camera ahead. You'll arrive in 1,000 feet.
Truth be known, the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency has a perception problem. You know, they're the ones that run muni-buses and trains, enforce parking regulations, and promote the use of bicycles.
I don't trust SFMTA.
I smell a rat.
Despite this skepticism, the board of directors unanimously adopted the city's biking and rolling plan.
Director Kahina.
Aye.
Kahina, aye. Chair Tarlov.
Aye.
Tarlov, aye. Thank you. That item is approved.
Beginning now and for the next 20 years, San Francisco will start linking hundreds of bike lanes to form a continuous route throughout the city. Think of it as one big bicycle network.
I truly believe that if we build it, they will come, as we've seen in other great cities around the world.
Good morning. Yeah, bike to school day.
We thought we'd get on a bicycle with their street division director to understand more about the plan.
What is the goal of the plan?
I think the goal of the plan is to have a long-term vision for what the bike network could look like in the future.
In other words, there is no detailed plan yet. It's a work in progress. SFMTA does have a goal, which is to put anyone, anywhere, within a quarter of a mile from that bicycle network. For that, the agency expects to put up barriers like these to existing lanes, install speed bumps, and extend crosswalks to protect pedestrians as well. Schools will eventually be a quarter of a mile or less from that network.
Many parents at my children's school have expressed to me the desire to bike with their kids to school, but are afraid to do so without a connected network of bicycle lanes or protected bicycle lanes.
It may seem like a sensible plan, except that some San Franciscans argue the SFMTA hasn't always been that forthcoming, and some say tends to favor the bicyclists over drivers. Mistakes have been made, like creating a bikeway smack in the middle of Valencia Street. It took an entire community of business owners to force the SFMTA to get rid of that bikeway. Today, that bikeway has been removed and replaced with a side-running bike lane. The two-way bicycle lanes on Battery Street opened in 2023, when many people were still working from home. This is an example of they built it and only a few came. Because of these lanes, cars are not allowed to make a left-hand turn, and traffic is heavy even at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Perhaps a better alternative would have been to build the lanes one block over on Sansom Street, where only commercial vehicles are allowed.
That's actually one of my primary goals, is to stay flexible and to stay innovative and figure out what's working and what's not and make adjustments on our roadway.
Then there's the controversial proposal to add a bike lane on Oak Street next to the Panhandle. Neighbors are asking, why add a lane if bicyclists already use the mixed-use path inside the Panhandle for both bicyclists and pedestrians?
We have heard from many people that it is very difficult when there are bikes and pedestrians using the pathway, and it's not comfortable at all.
But you're going to create a lot more traffic on Oak.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. We've done a lot of modeling on Oak Street before we proposed that bike lane, as our engineers always do, and we actually don't anticipate to see significant amounts of backup as a result of putting that bike lane in.
There's so much space for people to drive. We just want a little bit more so that people biking can be safe.
Now there's a new administration. SFMTA's Director of Transportation took on the new role in March with the goal of building trust in the community.
And that takes a lot of listening.
In some cases, it may mean slowing things down or changing our approaches. And we're going to work with different communities to figure out what's the right fit for them.
So here's something to think about. SFMTA is facing a major budget deficit. Yet people are questioning, how will this get funded? Now, the transit agency says grants and propositions that voters already passed will help fund it, except that right now, there is no price tag for what these projects could cost over the next 20 years. But it's important to note that each single project must be approved by the board and the community must weigh in. I wish somebody would ask me. Nobody asks me.
Right.
And I live in San Francisco.
And maybe ask AI, because maybe it can do some better predictions on the spillover, the impact, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Very helpful, but I don't know, would it take jobs away? Some of those engineers?
Well, it might help the engineers do the jobs more effectively,
It's
more efficiently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Less papers to print up as well. Thank you, Leanne.
You
All
thought
right.
of it.
Yeah.